What's up everyone, Desi's here with another video. Today I want to talk about private servers in the MMO sphere and why I think that private servers might potentially be the future of MMOs, especially far down the line. And I think we're really starting to see this, especially in EverQuest. I mean, that's what this channel is more oriented towards, but I think World of Warcraft is also kind of experiencing a private server resurgence, especially in Turtle WoW it's called, where it's basically a classic version of the game but with tons of additions and customizations that just make the game honestly more fun and more community driven. And I want to talk about how we may be experiencing like the death of official servers in MMOs and more of a revival of private servers. And with this, I kind of want to talk about the game design and the philosophy that private servers have for MMOs and why we choose to play these versions of the games instead of the official corporate version of the MMO with official updates, official customer support, actual paid microtransactions and expansions. And yeah, let's dive right into it. So first off, private servers, they simply are not owned by corporations. They are running off the engines that were designed by these big companies, but they are independently ran by primarily the community or people that are just very passionate about the game and want to create a kind of a bubble where players can play within and not really have to deal with some of the corporate consequences that come with playing an MMO and how it has to be a for-profit system. And I do notice some private servers, there's cash shops and donation buttons, but I think the donations are just helping keep the server alive, and they never really provide some sort of competitive advantage if you actually spend money on these private servers. Some of them are scummy. I have encountered some World of Warcraft private servers that have cash shops where you could buy gear and stuff like that, but I think that those only attract a certain kind of player. And I think that most of the private servers that I do encounter have a lot of integrity in how the economy is run, and especially keeping real money trading off of the game entirely. There aren't chronos on Project Quorum or Project 1999 or the Hero's Journey. There aren't WoW tokens in like Turtle WoW. So I think they have a disconnection from the real world economy, which really makes the gameplay more immersive. And I think that's why players are honestly flocking towards private servers rather than playing on official servers. And kind of to connect off that point, I was kind of talking about it a little bit already, but I think that private servers are just more community driven. They have more of an intimate population. I think a lot of official servers can sort of be daunting because you're kind of a small fish in the pond, and usually there are tons of expansions ahead that you have to kind of progress through in order to meet where the majority of the population is already playing. And I think when you hop on a private server like this one on Project Quorum that's literally only in the first expansion, we are seeing Velius come out on April 1st, so it's gonna be in the second expansion, but it's just not very further on in the era of the game itself. So I think it really allows people to more accessibly enjoy the game and have more flexibility in what kind of era they're looking to play the game in. And we do see this in a lot of official servers as well. I think that companies are starting to catch on that players like to have freedom in what sort of version of the game they want to play in. And I think a big example of this is obviously the time lock progression servers on EverQuest. Every single year there are new servers that are released because the company understands that players love to play in the original versions of the games, and that always attracts players no matter what. And I think that with the addition of time lock progression servers, having that flexibility is very nice. But as I've mentioned in previous videos, there's just that feeling of a bastardization of the original game. And that's really apparent with the cash shops, chronos, and simply the speed at which the servers progress versus private servers, which may be permanently in a specific era. Like on Project Quorum, the server is going up to Planes of Power, but it's going to stop there. There may be some customizations in the future with additional content that might not have been previously in the original base version of the game, but there's just a little bit more flexibility and also a little bit of a permanent kind of immersion if you want to play in a specific era. And I think that community-driven atmosphere is very apparent in private servers, and I don't really feel it as much when I play official versions of the game, unless I'm playing with a specific group of players or going in with a certain philosophy to, you know, try to meet new people and play with a specific static group of players. But I think that private servers make it a little bit more accessible to have that experience because it's more organic. And another big thing that I think draws people to private servers instead of the official version of the game is that it's free. You know, like, you don't have to pay a monthly subscription in order to play on most of these private servers. There's no expansions that you have to pre-order. There's no subscription. There's really not really a cash shop at all. You don't really have to spend any money out of your pocket to have a fun and enjoyable and complete experience on these private servers. And I think especially with inflation in today's economy and all the real world jazz, you know, I think that people like that. I think it's a very attractive quality to play a private server because you just really don't have to spend any money to play it. And I think that is something to be very grateful for, that people that are creating these private servers and hosting them are willing to allow people to play them for free. And although the owners of the servers themselves, I mean, they didn't design this game, I think it's still pretty cool to be able to experience a certain version of it, especially customized with quality of life features like Project Quorum and staying true to the roots like Project 1999, and especially all of the designs that have been going towards the Hero's Journey server with all of the customizations with playing multiple classes and customizing the gear and variants of it. Personally, I haven't really played on that server too much, but it's incredible to see how much effort was put into this experience on the Hero's Journey server, that being able to play on it for free is super, super cool. And I think just it goes to show that actual fans who are running these servers, you can really see the passion in the additions to the game that I feel you can't really quite see in some of these modern day expansions and official patches from the actual companies that own the IP and are actually designing it currently right now. I think there's sort of a disconnection between that versus seeing the sort of, again, the intimate connection in owning and running a private server, and it's all fan based, it's all fan driven, and I think that's really evident when you actually experience the game and play it. And anyone that's on the fence of playing on a private server, it's free to play, and I think you could have a lot of potential fun, and I think it's just a fun way to enjoy the game in a different way. EverQuest, World of Warcraft, you know, all of these MMOs, there's so many different ways to play the game, but at the end of the day, it's the same game, and we all have a shared love and passion for these games. And if we're playing it, no matter what version we're playing it on, it's valid no matter what. If you're playing on an official server and you are enjoying the experience and enjoying the game, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think that is fantastic. And it's actually supporting the original company that's actually developing the game. So I think I want to say that in this video, I'm not saying that private servers are fundamentally better than the original game and that you should play private servers over official servers. I'm just saying that it's interesting to kind of look into why we play private servers and certain aspects of why they might be more favorable for certain people. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about the free access portion of why people play on private servers. And I did touch on this a little bit previously, but I think having the flexibility to play it in certain eras, in certain patches, and to play in modified versions of an older version of the game is very novel experience, and I think people can actually play the game in a way they never played before and get different things out of a game, even if they were playing it for 25 years. And just having the flexibility to choose what part of the game you want to play. Do I want to play modern EverQuest? Do I want to play up to House of Thule? Do I want to play during Kunark Velius? Do I want to stop at Planes of Power? I think the beauty of official servers as well is they have that capability with timeout progressions. They do go pretty quick, but I think that is an experience that people love to have. But just having that flexibility in private servers is awesome, and I think it doesn't hinder or hurt the community that plays the game at all. I think it really does help it. And lastly, what I want to touch on about why I enjoy playing on private servers versus playing on an official server is I think there's less FOMO mechanics and kind of updates in the game. I think that it's really hard to bypass having FOMO when the game is run on a profit-driven model. These companies have to make certain amounts of money every quarter and grow at certain rates every year for the investors to feel like they have a worthy investment in the company itself. And that simply is not the case for private servers. There's no need to really push people to hop on for certain events or activities. I think you see events in Project Quorum like for the anniversary or certain holidays, even the new expansion releases every 9 months, but I don't think those events are manipulative in a way to get people to play because they can buy a subscription for that month or buy experience potions on the shop for $20. There's not that kind of fundamental desire from the company's end to make money from the player, and I think with that you really see that, hey, I don't have to play this right now if I don't want to, and I don't need to feel bad for missing out on something. And I think that goes beyond the game itself. I think it's also a personal thing to kind of come to terms with and recognize in yourself. Am I playing this game right now because I want to catch up to something, or I feel like I'm going to miss out on a potential in the future when I'm playing the game? Do I want to get a certain level so when this expansion comes out I can play it, or I want to play this while it's still fresh? I think it's very important to recognize if that's a reason why we're playing the game in the first place, because for me personally, I do recognize that I have a lot of FOMO kind of thoughts, I suppose, in the back of my mind when I'm playing certain MMOs, because it's such a social game and you really can miss out on certain events because MMOs are an organic world where certain things can only happen once and certain loot can drop only once, like if you look at the Sleeper in the Velius expansion. And I think that can hinder the experience if you get too caught up in that, if you get too caught up in the loop of, hey, I am playing right now because I gotta get this certain thing by this certain time, and it creates a sense of urgency, and I think it can zap the fun out of the experience for certain kinds of people. I think for other kinds of people that can actually add to the experience and make it more fun. And so it's a very, very complicated and personal experience for how you interact with the game. But for me personally, private servers have less FOMO mechanics, and that's a big reason why I play on them. Because when I get caught up in official servers, official expansions, I kind of get burnt out pretty quick because I don't think I'm playing for the right reasons. And that's kind of the last point I want to talk about for private servers and why people might play on private servers versus, playing on official servers. And it's all really up to you. How do you enjoy the video games that you play? And I think it's interesting. Why do you play on private servers versus live servers? Do you play it because it's free? Do you play it because it's a certain era of the game that you enjoy? Or is it there's less FOMO? Was it any of the reasons that I described in this video? Or is it something completely different? I would really love to hear your thoughts on why you like playing on private servers versus official servers, because I think it can really help us understand why we play the games we do. And hey, if there's people that are actually designing these private servers or even working for these companies that design the games that might watch this video, probably not, but like, hey, I think it doesn't help to hear certain players' mentalities about that and how they could go about designing the game to be more appealing and more fun for certain people. So anyways, without further ado, I am going to end the video there. I really hope you enjoyed watching my level 6 Shadow Knight aimlessly run around and kill a couple low-level mobs while I rant on about private servers. So anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care, everyone. Peace.